The next step in moving from the big picture to the small picture involves bringing up a matrix for the underlying asset that you're interested in. Let's go to the Tesla matrix, bring that up, and immediately data flows into the program, in this case from our QuoteVue service. And that's the first point. You want to make sure that you have good current data in the matrix in which you're going to do some work that day. All right, now let's just read this. We have the various expirations moving across the top of the screen. We then have the calls on top and the puts on the bottom. And this is kind of intuitive because if a stock goes up, we move up the screen into the out-of-the-money calls. If the stock goes down, then we move down the screen into the out-of-the-money put strikes here. All right, reading across, we have the various expirations moving out in time, as you can see here, moving all the way out. Okay, and then that's how you read this. Calls on top, puts on the bottom. The little arrow is the strike that is closest to being at the money. Okay, closest to being the one that is at the money. We have the number of days left till expiration, and then the actual expiration date as well. Now, we have the buttons up above. Let's go through these. Here we have the legend button. We can turn the legend off or toggle it on. And that just simply tells you what parameters are appearing in the matrix. Go to the far left, we have define. If we go to define, this will tell us the various aspects that determine the size of this matrix. Here we're bringing in a small extent of in-the-money calls and puts and a moderate extent of out-of-the-money calls and puts. Notice in the bottom right, I currently do not have weeklies or leaps clicked, so I'm going to click those and bring those in. Click OK, and it has now added the weekly options going all the way out. You can come out here to the leaps. See that? Okay. So that's defined. Now, if you want to do a global setting for your matrices, you would come up here to Settings, go to Default Auto Strike, and this default auto strike will address the whole program in total. So whatever matrix you bring up will reflect the settings that you have in this default auto strike. Again, go to Settings, Default Auto Strike. Brings up that screen for a global setting change. Next we have Model. The Model button here. This allows you to see the various aspects going into the modeling of your option positions. The one I want to address now is the slippage. Hit bid ask means that whenever you input a trade and analyze it, it assumes then that you're always going to buy at the ask and sell at the bid and incur the full wrath, so to speak, of that spread. If you go to no slippage, this means that all the trades will be assumed to get executed at the midpoint between bid and ask. The midpoint between bid and ask. Slippage then moves out from there. Small, moderate, and large slippage settings are based upon an algorithm related to the size of the spread as well as the volume. And so you can experiment around with that. We like to keep this at none. That way you know that whatever market price you have, that is the price being assumed when you analyze. And you just have to know that in real life, often you're going to have some slippage coming from that. So set this according to your desires, though, certainly. Then we go to the Format button here. Click on Format. This brings up a screen that allows us to determine the way we want this matrix to look in terms of what parameters appear. Right now, in the options area, we have a cell size of 1 by 4, and here are the parameters. Let's just play around and go to a 1 by 5. This is our mentoring format we like to use. That is, the market price appears first, followed by the implied volatility of the midpoint between bid and ask, the mid implied volatility, the proposed trade field, and then if we have any existing positions that we've converted from trade and that are in the T-log, those will appear here. And then we have the one here, theoretical price. Let's just change this last one. And when you do that, click and bring up the drop down, and you'll see 2 to 3 dozen different parameters to select from and have those appear in the matrix. Let's click on delta if we want each option's delta. Click OK. And now you can see that the matrix takes on a bit of a different look. Now watch this. I'm going to make this particular format one of my set defaults. I'm going to click set default number 2. Nothing happened there, but watch this. I can come up here to these little 1, 2, and 3 buttons and bring up a previous format, and then the little number 2 button I just created, it brings up the one that has delta. All right, and in that way, in the format screen, you can then create your own default settings for those little 1, 2, and 3 buttons here. Okay, this concludes this particular presentation on matrix. We'll do a part 2 as well. Thank you.